Alright, buckle up because this one is insane. So I just found out that someone on a popular AI music website, and I use the term music very loosely here, literally stole a bunch of my bass solos and made full songs out of them.
Is that a guy?
Welcome, dear viewer, to this video about an ecosystem.
Look, if you had one mask, one opportunity to imagine everything you ever...
This is one of nature's most mechanical designs. An insect with a prehensile face, snatching prey at speeds our eyes can barely perceive. Sharp pincers or big scoopers grab the prey and bring it back to the mouth. It all happens in just milliseconds, and sort of looks like it's from a horror movie. But this is not an alien, it's a dragonfly nymph. Dragonflies are many people's absolute favorite insect because of their near-perfect hunting skill in the skies. But their juvenile form is almost just as formidable underwater. Plus, they spend about 90% of their life in this nymph stage. These juvenile forms do not get enough credit, because their weapon is not just fast, it is a mind-blowingly mechanical apparatus for a living creature. And it allows dragonfly nymphs to dominate freshwater habitats as top predators. This is one of those insects that I'm very glad is tiny. But surprisingly, their other end is extremely mechanical too. So much so that for a long time, researchers considered it to be unnecessarily complicated. A complicated butthole? Why? We know that they use a hydraulic system for jet propulsion and can move incredibly fast. And we know that they also respirate through this opening. But the reason the butthole valve is so heavily engineered is not what I ever would have guessed. And on top of all of this, the metamorphosis from nymph to dragonfly is like nothing else I have ever seen. It sort of broke my brain. I started writing this video thinking this would be an easy and quick one, but turns out, nope, we're in for a long-ass video about an obscure little insect. So how does their mechanical and hydraulic system work? How do they use it to move around, breathe, and snatch prey? Why is their butthole so complex? And what about their metamorphosis is so deeply unsettling? The life of a dragonfly begins in its oval-shaped egg, in or near fresh water, since dragonflies are obligately aquatic during their early life stages. Sometimes the eggs can even be quite dazzling. Inside the egg, the embryo develops into a tiny larva over the course of several days to several weeks. When ready to hatch, the larva breaks through the egg membrane as a prolarva, a tiny tadpole-like creature. Amazingly, once it emerges from the egg, it starts its first molt immediately, sometimes within seconds, becoming the dangerous predator that is a dragonfly nymph. Now, this six-legged nymph truly begins its life underwater. There are as many as 7,000 species of dragonfly in the world. So there are of course as many different types of nymphs that are all a bit different. But all dragonfly nymphs have large compound eyes that give them excellent vision underwater, along with short, bristle-like antennae for tactile sensing. Developing wing pads are also visible, becoming more prominent as the nymph grows. And of course, there's the extendable prehensile labium, often called the mask. On the thorax, dragonfly nymphs have 3 pairs of segmented legs used for clinging, crawling, or burrowing, depending on their lifestyle. Nymphs will molt many times throughout their life, up to 15 times depending on the species. Each molt allows the nymph to grow and get closer to its adult form. This is a huge number compared to other insects, who often molt just 3 to 4 times before becoming their adult form. The high number for dragonfly nymphs is in part due to their long life. Their nymph stage can last months to several years. Nymphs can be categorized into 4 main types based on how they live and move in their aquatic environment. First, there are the claspers, those with slender bodies with long legs that allow them to grasp plant stems. There's the sprawlers, those with flattened bodies who hang out on the surface of the sediment. There's the hiders, those with compact and camouflaged bodies that live among leaf litter. And finally, there's the burrowers, those with cylindrical bodies that live underneath the sediment. You'll notice that the burrowers have this extra long tubular abdominal segment, scientifically called tube butts. These tube butts act like a snorkel, but instead of sticking out from the water into the air, they stick out from the mud into the water. And they do this because the rectal gills within the tube butts need to access the water for breathing. All dragonfly nymphs have rectal gills like this. They draw fresh oxygenated water in and out in a process called rectal ventilation, aka butt breathing. And amazingly, if the conditions become hypoxic, meaning there's not enough oxygen dissolved in the water, the dragonfly nymphs will stick their anal pyramid above the water's surface and breathe atmospheric oxygen. This is such an underrated superpower. Their butts are full of evolutionary surprises like this, because the same system that pulls water in and out for respiration allows the nymphs to use jet propulsion for rapid escape. They're the only insect known to do this. It works like this. Water is drawn into the rectum the same way as for breathing. Then the anus is sealed. Then, to generate thrust, powerful abdominal muscles contract around the rectal chamber, building up pressure. When the anal valves open, the pressurized water is expelled rapidly, propelling the nymph forward by jet action. This sounds simple enough, but some scientists were perplexed at how complicated the valves seem to be.
What we were really amazed by was the shape of their chamber, and we were really mesmerized by the way they control the most external valve.
This is Chris Rowe, assistant professor at Cornell University in the Department of Biological and Environmental Engineering.
And the reason was not just that it was readily visible, its action, but that initially it felt like it was unnecessarily complicated. Because the valve, the more common one might be the ones that are more sphincter-like, where you have a continuous variation like that. But instead, these had maybe not quite a leaflet, but like this lobes that actually block third of the valve.
What Chris is describing is called a tri-leaflet anal valve. It looks kind of similar to the valves that we have in our hearts.
When we first looked at it, we thought that's interesting, that seems overly complicated, and maybe there's a reason for that.
So Chris and his team began to investigate. What could this complicated valve be used for? When they started to look closely, the first thing they noticed completely took them by surprise.
When we finally got the camera set up just right, we saw that for exhalation and inhalation, they independently control these leaflets.
This allows the nymph to control the size and the symmetry of the valve opening. But what does this asymmetry do to the jet coming out?
One of the main effects that we saw was that by creating an asymmetry, so the bottom two are still covered, only lift up the top, we started to see that actually that deflects the jet and controls the direction of the jet, and we called it jet vectoring.
So does it affect their trajectory?
Funny enough, for changing direction, they don't use this jet vectoring. At least we haven't seen that.
It turns out when they want to change direction, they just bend their body to direct the jet, while leaving the valve completely open. What the valve asymmetry is actually for is something else, and it's not exactly intuitive. It's only when the nymphs are not moving and only breathing that they deflect the jet.
And we wanted to understand, why would they want to do that?
To find out, Chris and his team visualized the flow of fluid around the valve.
And what was really interesting is that whenever there is a jet that goes into otherwise steady water, it actually accelerates the flow around the jet towards the jet. It creates a little bit of a suction in the surrounding fluid. And that's usually 90 degrees to the direction of the jet. So if the jet is going this way, you can imagine from the top, bottom, and around it, fluid is accelerated towards that jet.
This is called entrainment, the process by which a turbulent or high velocity flow draws in surrounding fluid or particles into its own stream.
Now if you deflect the jet, then what you're doing to the surrounding fluid is in the bottom, as the jet's coming up, fluid is coming this way towards the jet. And what we saw was that when they need to inhale the water, what they do is open the bottom two leaflet and welcomes that jet into their.
Restart the... What? Fredbear, why are you blocking the hallway, Fredbear? Am I about to auto die? What? Ah! Watch this left side. Hey, we could just keep one door closed. We'll be alright. We'll be alright. I don't want to do this, but y'all put me in a very precarious situation. 459,000 likes. Y'all like my suffering. Just say that. You're freaking sick. How do you sleep at night, knowing that a grown man shrieks and screams of terror brings you pleasure? You know what? It's all good, because I'm about to beat this once and for all. Help me! I'm still on night 4, right? Yes. Okay. If that junk's at night 1, video canceled. Sup, what's going on, Corey Kitchen here? Welcome back to those nights at Fredbear's. Y'all went crazy on the first episode. I wonder why. Shout out to Game Night for this comprehensive strategy guide he left in the comment section. Thank you for clearing that up about the plus trap. Whole time I was thinking the sucker was crawling around on the floor, but he was getting triggered because I was playing Ring Around the Rosie with the guy. Let's get in here. And then they talking about night 5 is a whole different thing. Listen, if we beat night 4, that counts as mission complete. All right, up, down, up, down. Totally forgot how to play this game.
Hey, Julio, buddy, what's up? What's going on?
Yeah.
Finally done with the ceremony.
You know what? We listened to that last call. So I remember my strategy was just getting to the curtains. If I just get to the curtains, yeah. Oh crap, I forgot about batteries too for the flashlight. All right, keep the curtain closed. High key. We need to do a little bit of reconnaissance. I got no batteries for the flashlight. 1 a.m. See, we only got to do that 5 more times, guys. Light work for your boy. Where the frick are the Duracells at? We got to get back to the curtain. Yep. Goodness, and I keep forgetting about stamina. I'm going to keep it a buck with you. Find somewhere to go. Find something to do. Find something to do, bozo.
In camp! It can't be!
We're dead. We're dead! Close the curtains at least! Close the curtains at least! Yeah. And I didn't even hear what that thing was singing before. Oh goodness gracious. What is that? What does that mean? What does the music mean? What's the power at? Is the power... Oh, is the power about to run out? Is that what that means? Like, power reset. Power reset, flip the main breaker. Okay. I can't see. I can't... All right, give me the battery. Put it in. I don't know what's going on with the curtains, guys. Okay. The power breaker was over here. I think. I'm gonna go to curtains first. Oh boy! Oh, you thought you were about to come out, pal. Not today. Dude, your stamina doesn't come back when you're putting the curtains back. I think this is fine though. I think we're cool to leave the power off. Boring gameplay, but I'm safe. Oh yeah, I forgot. I don't want to deal with him. We need power on. No! No, 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 no. No. Oh, my stamina. My stamina and my flashlight. Oh. I'm cooked. I'm cooked. Just run around. Just run around. Oh my goodness. Did I not go under the table with them both not near me? Man, it's like everything goes fine until like 3 o'clock. Go around, go around. Look, the flashlight batteries are actually garbanzo beans. Like, why is my flashlight blinking after 10 seconds? All right. There it is. There it is. Okay, I know where this switch is at now. We gotta get to the curtains. We gotta get to the curtains. Oh my goodness! If I could get to the reset switch, right? Get to the reset switch and get the power back on, I can win. I can win, guys. Here we go. We gotta go. We gotta go. Don't be scared. Fortune favors the brave. Get this back on. Okay. Okay, okay, he's coming that way. He's coming that way. Change the flashlight. Blinking too much for my taste. Okay. We gotta go around. We gotta go around. What? So they add new features now. They adding new features? When did Spring Freddy get ambushes in his loadout? These suckers is pulling out new tricks every time it gets to 4 a.m., dude. You know whose fault this is? This is all the power's fault. Huh? This is all the power's fault. If the power could just stay on, we wouldn't have to deal with freaking 2 of them walking around. Spring Bonnie is literally the bane of my existence. And the thing is, it's like the threat level isn't like a S class. So it's kind of deceiving, right? Because you're like, yeah, you know, Spring Bonnie, yeah, persistent but slow. The sucker blocks off passages. Blocks off passages makes you use your stamina. Those 2 things are more powerful than you think. Now, I'm gonna do a freaking auto shutdown. That's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna do an auto shutdown. Because I don't want to deal with this late in the night. Didn't I tell you? Didn't I tell you? Y'all might call me crazy, but geniuses always look crazy at first. I'm just gonna shut down power on my own terms. But I don't want to do it at freaking 70%. That's too high. Let's get back to curtains. Let's get back to curtains. Wait, what? Wait. No. I had 70%. No. What? I had 70%. I had 70%. Total power loss? How? I had 70%. We just gotta get down. We just gotta get to the power. Oh. Okay. It's just you. No ambush. Okay. Power was this way. Come on, baby. Power on. We're back in. Okay. Get back to curtains. Oh my goodness, we're on the other side of the dang rest. Wait. Curtains are here. We did it. We just did the hardest maneuver. Wait! Power's on! The power's on! Yo! Y'all lied to me! I thought he couldn't come out if the power was on. Look at the power. Look at the power. It's already at 35%. How? Curtains all the way open now. I thought this was the run. I thought this was the run. He went back to the stage. He went back to the stage. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Power's about to go out again. Power's about to go out again though. It's 4 o'clock. It's 4 o'clock. Power's about to go back out. Okay. Okay. I'm thinking we kill Power on our own terms. We just gotta get there. Wait. I didn't do. I'm tripping. Just get to curtains. Just get to curtains. Oh my goodness, bro. It's still not 5 yet? How is it still not 5? Please. I know we so close. I know we're so close. No, don't just stand in front. Don't stand in front of me. Come on. All right, this is it. Run. Just run. I got no light. I got no nothing. I can't see. It's gotta be 6. Come on, I can't see. Just stay away from the noise. I'm using the walls. How is it not 6? Let's go! Oh my goodness! Oh, we fought for that. Oh, we fought for every second. I can't believe it. Okay, what's the 5th night? What is it? No phone call? Nothing? Look at the power.
What?
Look at the power. What's happening? I'll take a battery. Hello? I don't know where Springbot is. Keep this closed. I mean, it feels like we playing by the same rules. That's who he's about to pull up. Hey, how's it going? You just stay on it. Look at it, look! Is the real power in there somewhere, or is it just... I don't know. What time is it? It's almost 2. Guys, this has been the easiest night so far. The power's not even off. They're just doing what they want to do, dude. They're just doing what they want to do. How about that? Yeah, piece of garbage. Is there even a camera outside of here? Let's open it up. Bro. If the power goes out now, we're done. Oh. Guess what? The curtains. We gotta get to curtains, guys. This sucker going around! Please, the curtains are open! What's up, guys? What's up? Yeah, we're dead. Restart the... What? Reset the power, set them free. Am I about to auto die? What the fuck? What? Okay, yep, we're running away from that. Oh no, you can have that. What? Guys. So he just auto-booted me back into... Wait, we got a checkpoint. Let's freaking go, guys. We got a checkpoint. Okay, can I press pause? I don't know if escape is gonna end the game.
Oh, let me try my Mad Bomber.
It said, watch where you shine the flashlight? I'm about to turn this flashlight off. I don't even know what's happening. What is it? What is that? Is this an auto death or what? Flashlight merely annoys it. Overcharge the breaker to really hurt it. Oh, the flashlight melts those kids away? Oh my goodness, I forgot about stamina. Look how long it takes to just start recharging. Get burnt, loser! So it said, engage excess power dump, use breaker. Okay, is that all we gotta do? Let's freaking go. Do something with this. Overload it or whatever. Ooh. Okay, so we gotta keep doing that over and over again. Yep, get burnt, get back. Turn that off. But we gotta make sure our flashlight is always ready to go. Yep, about to change this flashlight battery right now. He spawned right behind me. Stop spawn trapping me. Power dump. We gotta get there. We gotta get there. We gotta get there. What? Stop with the new stuff. You know what? I think I just have to do this 6 times, right? It's not gonna go to 2 o'clock until I beat it, right? I just burnt them like 4 times. Gotta do it 6 times. What? Fredbear. Fredbear. Why are you blocking the hallway, Fredbear? Why are you blocking the hallway, Fredbear? I gotta get in there. All right, you can have that one. You can have that one. You can have that one. I didn't want that one anyways. Guys, am I tweaking? I keep seeing like 2 eyes in the distance. Why the flashlight didn't burn it? Why the flashlight didn't burn it? I'm telling you, this game keep making new rules. Let's make it new rules. Every time you get something figured out, they switcheroni. Hold up, I gotta see what happens if you run into this. Did he just sock that kid in the face and kill it? That's what I'm talking about. Wait, wait! Burn, baby, burn. So, Everything's pretty easy until you do it the second time. They play by all the nice rules. Look, how fair is that? How fair is that? Change your flashlight battery. He could just spawn literally right next to you. Find something to do, brother. I'm not that interesting. What was that? See, I keep seeing eyes. I literally keep seeing eyes, man. All right. So, this is the second time. Fredbear's gonna be blocking the freaking, yeah, okay, he's blocking it. Look at this, look at this, look at this, look at this. Wait, what? It worked? Look at the eyes, look at the eyes. Oh my goodness. Move, move, move. Get it on. Get it on, get it on. Look. Flashlight battery is low. Oh my goodness. Look at this. Look at this. Look at this. We need to find some batteries. We're not gonna make it. All right, get to it, get to it. Yep, get back, loser. That's free. Look, look! Oh my goodness. Move, burn, burn, burn. We gotta go around, we gotta go around. Get to the computer. Flashlight off. There he is, there he is. There he is. Come on! Yep, burn, loser. Alright, so we gotta keep the flashlight on sometimes. Because guess whose eyes don't glow in the dark? That's right, Spring Freddy's doesn't. Okay. We're here, we're here. Wait, who's walking? Who's walking? Spring Bonnie. Where's that Fredbear? Look, look, burn, burn, burn. Oh my goodness! Come on. Come on, sprint! Oh my goodness. Hit it, hit it, hit it. Ah! It's four. Move, get back, get back. Get back. I don't know what that was. There's so many eyes. Change the battery, change the battery, change the battery. Change the battery, change the battery. W batteries. Shout out to Duracell. Anybody want to explain what just happened? My run was going so well. I was doing everything nearly perfect. It was perfect. Down to the last detail. I get to 4 o'clock, this thing spawns behind me and snaps my neck like a freaking Ninja Gaiden. It literally assassinated me. It literally just spawned behind, like I didn't get any...
I just got a death animation.
Let me refer back to the notes. It doesn't say nothing. I saw a whole...
Priority objective available, Agent.
Agent, we need you back in New York. Cleaners in Brooklyn. We need reinforcements.
Bunch of shenanigans. I saw a Shadow Freddy. Don't see any notes about that. Don't see any notes about the thing assassinating you. Wait until the timer winds down until you can head to the breaker, then flip the switch. I was doing that. I was literally, I had a whole protocol. I literally only had to do that 2 more times, which just seems impossible. Oh. What the frick is that? What is that? What is that? I'm gonna try this one more time, guys. I'm gonna try this one more time. Whatever happens, happens. This is just a demo after all. When this full game drops, we need more hints. We need things spelled out for us. Mechanics. Everything just laid out so we know how to beat it as players. I'm not saying make the game easy, but you can't just be introducing Shadow Freddy and I just got no, I don't know what to do. One of the nights I got assassinated, Okay. So don't keep, I don't even know where I'm at. I actually just, okay. So, don't keep the flashlight on. I'm keeping the flashlight off, okay? I'm keeping the flashlight off. I'm gonna wait till the thing gets close. Okay, all right. And then I think on top of that, oh, we only gotta do a quick flash. I thought you had to melt him like you have to do with the kids. Ooh, okay, hold up. Hold up. Getting some strats. Getting some strats. Now, I do need a battery, though. I do need a battery, though. Oh, I saw a battery over there, but there's a freaking kid. I don't know where he is. Oh, my goodness. Video almost ended right there, guys. Video almost ended. Look at this sucker here. Standing in front of the computer. Y'all, they got no shame. They got no shame. They're doing whatever it takes. Hey, y'all suckers on the stage, stay up there. Yeah, get melted, loser. Go back over here. See? Look. We could get 2. We could get 2 all day. We could get 2 all day. Then they start with this bull crap, right? Wait till he starts charging you. Then hit him. Wait till he starts charging you, then hit him. Y'all hear him? I know y'all can't see. I'm so sorry this whole video is in the dark. I'm gonna try and lighten it up in the editor, but it just sucks that this is the mechanic. I'm just playing to win. Get off me. Start that. I'm gonna change batteries. Get off me. The sprint. All right. Get off me. Move this way. Yep. Okay. This is 3. This is 3. Hey, oh, you look so surprised. You look so surprised. I'm stuttering. I'm trying to be a tough guy and I'm freaking stuttering. Same deal. Get off me. I just want to move. I just want to get to the computer. Okay. Maybe you don't look at the eyes. Maybe the eyes make you crazier. Get off me. Yep. Hit it! Hit it! Because guess what? We haven't seen the Shadow Freddy thing yet. Get off me. All right, go this way. We're doing really well, guys. We're doing really well. Get off me. All right, right here. 4 o'clock, guys. 4 o'clock. 4 o'clock. Okay. This is when I got assassinated that one time. So I'm moving. I'm keeping flashlight off. We're doing well on flashlight battery. I can't imagine how this could go wrong. Just don't look at the eyes. Don't look at the eyes. Don't look at the eyes. Get off me. I can't see. Okay?
Headshot.
Dios.
Every time I beat a Fadian game, we do 3 things. 1, we watch the rest of the credits. 2, we watch the speed run. And then 3, we say sorry to the dev for cursing you out. And I didn't get to do any of those things because my stream crashed because I ran out of storage space. Did I miss the credits? Oh no, I missed it. It's all right. We can still watch a speed run. You're kidding me. You're kidding me. Wait, there's glitches? That's not even the world record. The world record's AS13B, who, by the way, if you don't know, is a Fadian game GOAT. Currently the world record holder at the God Gamer Gauntlet, the challenge that I created. They are literally the world record holder at it. Phenomenal, difficult, just a phenomenal Fadian game player. You know. Truly one of the best Fadian game players to ever do it. But apparently, also the world record holder. Let's take a look at this run in baby steps. So let's take a look. Shout out, by the way, Hey, big shout outs to AS13B. I'm curious what glitches there are because it doesn't feel like this game has a lot of glitches to offer. Okay. So first off, I'm seeing a movement option that I had not yet seen before, which is galloping. Also, I know this is uploaded in 2025. This feels like a 2007 speedrun video. It is just grainy, like VHS noises, the quietest gameplay with copyright-free marimba music in 720p max. The keyboard UI actually looks really cool. That's actually pretty awesome to see. It seems like, yeah, they're using keyboard and mouse, which is surprising. I would have assumed it was faster to use controller here, but a lot of galloping here. 14 minutes is crazy. This took me 14, or I guess like 12 hours. Do you think they use the stairs, chat? It's interesting because the movement doesn't seem like super locked. Like occasionally he gallops and then sometimes he just has to walk normal. Like you have 3 gallops before you would fall over. I'm not a marimba. What's the musical instrument with the glockenspiel? That's what I was thinking of. The glockenspiel. You didn't finish the game? I hella beat the game. Are you kidding me? If there's other endings, we'll look them up. I'm sure there are. Oh, thank you for the subs, chat. I appreciate it. Hello on Ludwin. Come over to twitch.tv and drop a prime. Please. All right. So walking where you shouldn't walk to cut some time down. This is pretty standard so far.
There it is.
I would have expected good pathing. Who the hell is that? Who's the dead guy? Oh, our first mistake. Pretty brutal. Pretty brutal here. Maybe 30-second reset. Do you think 20 seconds there? It's crazy to think that they're going to somehow beat this game in... Like, we are 3 minutes into a 13-minute speedrun. Like, you're telling me in the next 10 minutes they beat it? They're barely making any progress? It must be a crazy glitch, because I would have assumed it takes, like, about an hour to beat this game. Maybe like 35, 45. This doesn't seem that hard. Just to be clear, the best player in the world at this game fell in the world record. You know. So clearly this game's hard. The thing is, the movement in this game isn't like other fighting. Other fighting games, you have like, you know, launch capabilities, swing capabilities, things that can give you huge momentum to cut off large swaths of the map. Because this is 3D, it's a much bigger map. And because your movement is only your legs walking, there's no power driven outside of like a small step, you can't really skip much. Like the only skips I can think of are just steep verticals that you are able to navigate up. But that doesn't, you know, there's no steep vertical to get you above like an entire mountain. He's like a bit of a billy goat here. Can't skip much while this guy's skipping the whole way. Well, he's really not. Like, I'm not saying this isn't impressive, to be clear. But like, you know, we're 5 minutes in. Okay, yeah, see, like this is what I was talking about. This is definitely like this is what I thought the game would have. Like super steep, super slippery incline. He's trying to get to those white little rocks on the left, I assume. And I assume this cuts off like a good amount. Nice. But like, nice, that was good. But like, that's not that big of a cut. Like we're in section 1 of, I think there's 6 maybe total sections. Like there's so much more to this game. So at some point, I'm going to see a glitch that's going to fucking blow my mind, and I'm going to be guffawed. Why is his ass so big? Honestly, because the moose's hog is so big, is my theory. Oh, what the fuck? Where did this bear come from? Oh, is it a... Oh. I really thought the skip was going to be like the bear claws you, and if he claws you in the right way, you fly up the mountain. Where is this skip? Yeah, I don't know. I'm getting like anxious on behalf of the speedrunner. Like, I know he's supposed to theoretically end in 13 minutes because this is not a live video, but to be 8 minutes in the end be like super far away, I'm getting anxious for him. Okay, so you go up here. I remember this section. But there's like so many cutscenes to go through as well. Wait, where is this actually? Maybe I don't remember this section. Where the fuck are you? Where are you going? Oh, did you choke? No, clearly not. I don't know why I keep asking that like I'm not watching the world record video. It must be like a secret ending. That's my theory right now, is that like if you do XYZ thing, it just cuts to the end of the game and it's a different ending. Yeah, I'm anticipating the glitch more than anything. Do you think you get launched? I can't imagine what would launch you. Okay, swimming in the water now. Okay, I'm guessing we're gonna clip under this rock. Yep. Or maybe, oh, maybe not. Oh, okay, no, we are trying to clip under this rock. It seems like you need to be head on and then gain some speed. And we are clipping. We are clip. Oh. Okay. Oh, no. Yeah, we fully clipped under the rock. Fully clipped on him. Now we're just swimming under this giant rock structure. And here's the dev hole. Where are you going? Okay, almost clipped out of bounds. This is like... This guy's doing this shit that is gonna end up in a YouTube video. When your body's shaped like the letter K. How this man died in a hole. What the hell? Swapping the FPS to native resolution. What does that do? What is this glitch? Who found this? You fall out of bounds. And now you spam swim, spam swim, spam swim, spam swim, spam swim. Where are we going? Are we going to the cabin? Who the fuck found this glitch? Zero % what I thought the trees just spawned in. 0% what I thought was gonna happen. I cannot believe that this game is not even like a month old. I cannot believe it's already been discovered. What an absurd glitch. Yeah, 12 hours for me, 12 minutes for them. This doesn't seem like an easy glitch to do. I mean, maybe it is. It seems kind of precise though. And it looks like you could easily fall out of bounds if you fuck it up. So their only cutscene outside of the first cutscene is the ending cutscene. What is I wonder what their map looks like. Okay. And then if you cut the glitch out, glitchless, AS also has the world record, and that is 50 minutes, which I'm assuming is just, you know, sort of walking through. Yeah, because there's so many different levels, bro.
Nice.
Yeah, that seems much more normal. Does he use the stairs? Good question.
Get up. I switch DPI so I can enter quickly.
Yeah.
Did you know that in Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League, when Flash attacks you, he'll perform hidden gestures that are simple to miss? If you manage to slow down the footage, you can spot that he flips you off a total of 3 times. Not only that, but if you're playing as Boomerang, Flash will suddenly appear and remove Boomerang's clothes, revealing that Boomerang is wearing Flash-themed boxers. Another amusing detail is that if you spam Boomerang's power too much, he'll quickly get nauseous. And what about Batman? As expected, he serves as a spy for the team. After completing a mission, you can sometimes spot him watching from a distant building. If you get too close or shoot at him, he'll vanish. Once you finally face Batman in battle, he becomes a menacing threat, defeating each character by surprise. Batman knocks Boomerang out and completely folds him. Have you ever noticed this giant fingerprint smudge on the side of Toyman's truck? Call for more. Did you know that in Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League, when Flash attacks you, he'll perform hidden gestures that are simple to miss? If you manage to slow down the footage, you can spot that he flips you off a total of 3 times. Not only that, but if you're playing as Boomerang, Flash will suddenly appear and remove Boomerang's clothes.
You know, I'm a hopeful person. I can at times be very cynical on this channel, but at my core, I'm someone that enjoys enjoying things. I have no desire to see a game fail, and I have no desire to play a game with the hope or even expectation that it'll be bad. Both in my personal life and in my professional life, I hold on to the idea that things can always turn around. After 1 year of Suicide Squad, I've lost hope. Normally, I critique games, I pick apart why I like something, and a year ago, I had intended to do the same thing with Suicide Squad. But as more content updates released, I found myself unable to commit to that. Because this game is more than just a 10-hour campaign. It's more than the controversy surrounding it, and it's more than a product for someone to evaluate as either good or bad. Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League was an experience that lasted a year. This video will chronicle that experience. My experience. But hey, we'll still figure out what worked, what didn't, why, and what we can learn from it. This is Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League 1 year later. That's right, John. A cat is cooking a steak today.
In the jungles of Australia, this creature patiently hunts its food.
In this episode of Homie Improvement, we have 2 friends who just can't seem to set aside their differences.
Me and bro get along well, but when it comes to interior decorating, it's like we're 2 different strains of thought. I want to hang some dope prints on the wall, but he doesn't like the look of frames. I like dude, but he just doesn't get the minimalist aesthetic, man. What's the point of having nice prints if they have an ugly border around them? Feels like a rift is being driven between us, and tensions like keep rising. Hey bro, do you mind passing me that plate? There's 2 plates here, bozo. Do you want that plate or this plate? Dude. Bro. Display! With Display's sleek and minimalist design, I can have no ugly frames and let the picture speak for itself. With the many different designs on their website, you can find anything that looks cool. The best part is, setting it up is as easy as sticking a magnet on the wall. And if you want to change the photo, just swap the plates. You don't even need a new magnet. So the installation is easy and the landlord won't give me problems about drilling holes into the wall. I've had this display for years, and it's from one of my favorite games, Outer Wilds. If you're interested in getting your own display, you can use code AQUA at the checkout or click the link in the description. And thank you again to Display for sponsoring this portion of the video.
The hype leading to Suicide Squad was minimal. There were plenty who knew Rocksteady's reputation, myself included, and stayed hopeful. These were the people that brought us the Arkham series, games that pushed the video game medium forward and raised the bar not just for superhero games, but games as a whole. It was this reputation that led to many being excited about the idea of Suicide Squad. When the game was first revealed, we only had a cinematic to go off of, and said cinematic looked great. Comments from the trailer are positive, and reactions were much the same. A year passed and we finally saw gameplay. This gameplay looked clean, but some were concerned at how gun-heavy it was. Many assumed this game would incorporate Arkham's free-flow combat, but this could not be further from the truth. Not only did the showcase gameplay over the next year be more and more disappointing, it still looked like a far cry from what we would eventually get. I could tell the hype was dwindling, and it only got worse once many features of the game were confirmed. The biggest nail being that it was going to be a live service game. Well, not quite. The developers didn't want to use the word live service, and truthfully the game does still have a standalone single-player campaign, but when we hear of the RPG elements, the loot, the post-launch support, and of course, damage numbers, many saw the writing on the wall. Damage numbers were something brought up in a lot of online discussions, noted as a bad omen, which seems odd. Plenty of great games have them, but the context of superhero gaming at the time is important to remember. The biggest layup ever for a video game, Avengers, was a looter live service game in many ways similar to Suicide Squad, and it was panned upon release. Gotham Knights didn't fare much better, with many assuming the loot and damage numbers present there would imply the same setup. And while Gotham Knights wasn't a live service game, it still had enough issues on launch to be a failure. Without getting too far into the weeds, the presence of loot, crafting, damage numbers implies that a game is going to function a certain way. And when the last two to do that were both critical and financial flops, it makes sense that gamers were skeptical, but I wasn't. You remember that thing about being hopeful? I held out hope for Suicide Squad. I was burned by Avengers, I was burned by Gotham Knights, and even though I still like that game, I was prepared to put my heart on the line again, because this was Rocksteady, damn it. And if anyone was going to not mess up a superhero game, it would be them. And if the Arkham games earned anything from me as a consumer and a fan of Batman, it was my trust. But even I became worried. Prior to launch, we got two pieces of bad news. The first, review codes would not be sent out. No one got them. This was concerning because the last game to obscure reviews by not allowing reviewers to show their own footage was Cyberpunk, and for as much as I love that game now, and I have forgiven, I haven't forgotten. The next piece of bad news was that reviewers could play the game early, 3 days early, by purchasing the digital deluxe edition. You probably will not like what I did next. So, to give some context, the main reason I bought the deluxe edition was to play the game early for content purposes. I think this practice of allowing players to pay for early access is terribly scummy, but at the end of the day, with review codes not going out, there was an opportunity in front of me. I often don't review games day one because, simply put, by the time I finish the game, write, record, edit, and publish a review, IGN or any other outlet has already beaten me by a week, and thus, most times, I'll end up making little to no money off of those videos. But when everyone is starting on the same foot, I can get ahead. Because if there's one thing I'm capable of, it's locking in. I was still in university at the time the game launched, so I wrote a few papers ahead of time and prepared for launch day. When it arrived, I was fresh from a nap, had coffee at the ready, and was prepared to go in with an open mind. I hate talking about games I don't like, so I try to enjoy the things I review as often as possible. But this game would make sure that I was tested, because it almost immediately started breaking. Well, breaking for my friend, not me. Part of why I was excited for this game in spite of the red flags was because I had a co-op partner who was going to play through the whole game with me, but they had the game crash, locking up their entire computer every 15 to 30 minutes, and it made the game unplayable. So, my first disappointment was that I had to go about the game solo. The main campaign, while being the highlight of the game in retrospect, does not mean it was always fun. Sometimes, yes, and in fact, I'd say for most of it, I was engaged both in curiosity of how we actually killed the Justice League, and to see where where the gameplay would go. You can choose between King Shark, Captain Boomerang, Harley Quinn, and Deadshot, though I opted to stick with Harley as I liked her traversal the most. The game at times was fun, and you know what? Those first few hours of the story weren't so bad. The biggest issue at the beginning was simply the humor. Suicide Squad tries to be a comedy. There are jokes left, right, and center, and a lot of the dialogue is Task Force X filling dead air with banter and one-liners. Some of these were funny, some of them were entertaining, most were not. I can barely remember lines from the game that, now replaying, I heard all the time. I appreciate that when it comes to humor, it won't all land, and for me, a joke that misses won't ruin a game, so I never minded it. However, the game did have very brief moments where it took itself seriously, meaning I was able to get invested where necessary. What's also noticeable in the opening is that the premise and setup is strong. We start as a squad in Blackgate as they're contacted by Amanda Waller and told that they need to stop the Brainiac invasion, and Waller is reluctantly contacting them because there's simply no one else left. The Justice League has failed. The game moves quickly, and part of what makes the opening strong is how new everything is. We get new characters, a whole new city to explore, and while the tutorialization was a tad rough, with an onslaught of pop-ups explaining central mechanics as if they're optional, things were going good. The team is quickly snatched up by Green Lantern but is saved by the Flash, who has not yet been captured. Our initial goal is to kill the Flash because we don't know that he's actually not under Brainiac's influence, but it's soon revealed that he and Wonder Woman were the only ones to escape. This satisfies two things immediately. One, we get to see what the Justice League is like outside of their current villainous state, and two, the story took its time. When the Flash does finally turn, he spends a lot of time toying with the squad, and while a lot of our time spent in the beginning act is setting up side quests and teaching us about loot, my interest was maintained. This was doubly so because of the game's connections to the rest of the Arkham series. We reunite with a rebirthed Poison Ivy who is now a child after her death in Arkham Knight, and we see what Batman did after Knight, and the game satisfies the player's wants for Batman quickly with the Batman experience. In retrospect, the game may have been doing this more out of obligation than anything else, but we quickly encounter Batman who picks off the squad one by one. We do this by heading into a museum with the Flash that holds a Batman experience, a tourist attraction, and it's assumed that this is a safe place to lay low, and to get some one-on-one time with the Flash. Boomerang takes advantage of said time, cutting his finger off, but before we know it, he shows up. In co-op, this was a ton of fun as I could see my friend getting taken down in real time, and we finally got to see what it's like for a regular thug to go up against the Batman, and it was genuinely scary. I felt like I was being watched the whole time. This is one of the only times the game does this, and afterwards there's a lot of busy work in terms of taking down Brainiac's goons, but before I knew it, we were back to interacting with the Flash, who is now under Brainiac's control. Wonder Woman makes a few appearances too, not wanting the Suicide Squad's help, and upon using the lasso of truth on the Flash, he explains that there is only one way Earth is getting out of this alive.
You have to kill us, Diana. We have to die to save the world.
Barry.
This was potentially the peak of my interest in the game. We had drama, heroes that under their brainwashing knew they were doing wrong, and wanted the squad to kill them. This gives the squad a reasonable cause, which I think is important for players. Most of us love these heroes, and for as much as a lot of people enjoy playing as villains, nobody wants to necessarily commit to that. Think about Abby in The Last of Us 2. She's the bad guy, has a stellar swing too, and yet that doesn't feel good because we, as the villain, are hurting the characters we saw as heroes. So creating an environment where we can do villainous things to our favorite characters and not feel guilty about it is important, and I believe that for a lot of the story, that feeling is successfully executed. The other strength of taking down the Flash is that, again, it takes a while. Let's not forget that, aside from King Shark, every character we play as is human. Granted, they have some advantages, but they are still human. The Justice League, aside from Batman, are essentially gods. It would be stupid if it took all of 30 minutes to take down gods. Right, guys? Right? Forget about it. The point is, because it takes a while to find a weakness in the Flash, and because he actively kills some of our allies and methods of stopping him, he feels like a proper threat. Not only does this respect the power of his character, but it also makes overcoming that power more rewarding. Each character after the Flash offers diminishing returns in this regard. Green Lantern, who was present since the beginning, has a boss fight that you can try at any point, but until you find the thing that makes his constructs destructible, then you're engaged in a fight you can't win. And I think that's a really cool way to, within gameplay, show us how untouchable Green Lantern is. Literally. As we try to defeat the Lantern, the squad ends up in another dimension where they meet with an alternate Lex Luthor, heart intact this time. And this, at first, felt like a strange shark for the game to jump, but it became clear that this was set up for the endgame. Speaking of jumping sharks, King Shark is the only character I found to be constantly entertaining, primarily because he isn't really meant to be there, and his more jovial approach to the situation is in line with his character archetype of being a bit of a himbo. He carries a lot of the funnier moments here, and even gets to wear the Green Lantern's ring in order to save the squad once Green Lantern is taken down. I saw a lot of people complaining about this because it shouldn't be possible within the rules of the comics and character as a whole, so allow me to mention that I don't really care. I mean, yeah, it does break the rules, but I only find it worthwhile to criticize that if there aren't gargantuanly bigger fish to fry. There's a place for delving into these details. Monty Zander has an excellent critique of this game, but that's not where my concern is. When it comes to Suicide Squad, I want to look at the big picture, and honestly, there's hundreds of hours of content on this website that will analyze every line of dialogue if that's what you're looking for. As far as I'm concerned, I wasn't taking the story very seriously by this point, so any lore inconsistency wasn't going to bother me. At this point, Suicide Squad had failed to make me care about the conflict, so it had a new goal: entertain. If the game can make me have fun by making me care, then at least it could be funny or bombastic enough to entertain me, and fortunately for us, the next hero we need to take down is Batman. There was a lot riding on this, for me, because Batman is a character I have come to absolutely adore throughout my life, and that adoration started with Arkham. As a kid, I liked Batman cartoons and some of the movies, but Arkham Asylum was the first time I found myself fully engrossed in the lore and wanting to learn more about it. This character in Suicide Squad isn't just Batman, it's Arkham Batman. The lead up to the Batman fight was fun, and the fear segment with the squad was fun too. And again, I could split hairs over how the team was actually able to survive for so long and develop enough of the fear toxin to infect Batman too, but I don't care. The point is, this moment, being stalked by the fear toxin Batman, was great, and again, fulfilled the fantasy and curiosity of, I wonder what the criminals see when he's stalking us. Once transitioning to the giant bat fight, I was totally engrossed. It was bombastic, crazy, and I enjoyed it. I even liked that after defeat, Batman continues to berate the Suicide Squad, but I did not like what came after. When Superman shows up, Wonder Woman reluctantly stabs him with kryptonite, but it doesn't kill Superman. He then brutalizes Wonder Woman. Lex Luthor surmises that this is because Brainiac altered his DNA. In order to stop him, Luthor develops a golden kryptonite capable of damaging him, which the squad wears around themselves and infuses their bullets with. But the issue is, we need to get his attention, and we do this by executing Batman on a park bench. This is another scene I'm sure people are tired of hearing about, and I get it, it's disrespectful to Arkham Batman's legacy, and the fact he's reduced to a pawn, a tool to get to someone else, just feels a bit underwhelming. It's a shame because on one hand, I wanted Batman to be a bigger threat, but I can't pretend like this regular human is meant to be not just as strong, but stronger than his team of gods. I guess I just wish he could have put up more of a fight. I don't know. Either way, now that Batman is dead, Superman shows up, and the squad kills him. I understand that it's difficult to make a boss fight that is not only doable, but respects the power of the Man of Steel, but I still felt really underwhelmed by this fight, and it seems strange that it was happening so quickly. Once he's dead, the titular objective to kill the Justice League is completed, but before the group can celebrate, Brainiac freezes them and takes them back to his ship. Look, I mentioned that I won't nitpick, but this one did bother me, because like, okay, could he have done that at any point before or after? I get not bothering early on because he doesn't see them as a threat, but even when we get to the post game, surely that was an option, right? I don't know. What I do know is that this ending is the worst I have played in recent memory. Essentially, in order to defeat Brainiac, we have to defeat the different versions of him across different universes. We can't kill the Brainiac on our Earth because he's within the once again fortified ship, so we hunt down the other Brainiacs instead, starting with Earth 2. And once we bring him back, weaken the ship a bit, the team celebrates, and the game ends. My problem with this ending is not that we don't win, it's simply that nothing changes. I understand the game needs to set up its endgame, but the fact that our final push is against what is effectively a different Brainiac, and that said push took forever, made this unbelievably unrewarding. Especially because there's 13 Brainiacs, so I know for a fact that whatever the real ending was, I wasn't going to see it until the live service stuff was over. Was that for the better? Maybe. Because it means the game has some time to improve that story, flesh out different parts of it, and maybe find a way to make some of the more unsavory moments part of a scheme that retroactively makes those ends justify the means. For now, it was the sourest of notes to end my 13-hour play session, but I still tried to go into my review looking at the game as more than its story, because there is truly more to the game. If you've seen my smaller review of the game, then you'll know that I did find things to like, notably traversal, controls, Metropolis, and the many Easter eggs and references to Arkham. But due to the performance issues, story, level design, and the game having one of the worst endings in the series, I recommended people not buy the game. I ended my video saying that it needs more time, and some interpreted that as me saying the game needed to be developed longer. But what I actually meant was that with this being live service, more time, more seasons, more updates could result in something worth that $80, even $130 price tag. I was, hopeful. I briefly checked Twitter to see what people were saying as I edited my review, and I saw that the story or even much of the gameplay as a whole was not received well. I chalked it up to Twitter hating everything and just posted my review, which happened to be one of the first, and went straight to bed. Little did I know the storm that would ensue. I woke up to some good news. The video had done well, and I even made my money back and some. I immediately jumped on a call with some of my friends to chat about the game and to, of course, keep playing, as I still hadn't finished the endgame raids. As I played, however, the other reviews began rolling in, and my god, was it unlike anything I had seen in a while. I have tried many times to come up with one word to describe the chaos, but I could only be as concise as to say that it was an absolute gong show.
Repetitive, boring gameplay.
Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League is a thoroughly frustrating game to play.
What a shame. I absolutely do not recommend Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League.
This is one of the worst games I have ever played in my life.
Throughout my 13-hour playthrough, I don't think I had fun once the entire time. I was pretty miserable from start to finish.
What the hell were you thinking?
The fact so many people were calling for writers, developers, and consultants to lose their jobs should be enough to indicate the kind of fan backlash this game got. And I want to address two of the most prominent themes I saw from these more negative reviews. The first is, I don't think anyone deserves to be out of work. I understand the idea that if an employee does a bad job, then they don't deserve that job, but I think AAA games are too big of a project for issues to be pinned on any sole person. If the gameplay sucks, that's not necessarily because of the person who coded the gameplay, because the ideas for it came from somewhere, had to be pushed through multiple filters and given multiple go-aheads. The same is true for the writing. Sure, there are bad writers in the industry, but who's to say the directors, who, direct the game, don't also have a role in that? This isn't to say the issues with Suicide Squad are to be excused, but to say that pinning these issues on one person presents a willingness to ignore the bigger picture. But of course, the internet tried to do so anyways, and one of the groups that caught the brunt of this flack was Sweet Baby Inc.
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 Sweet Baby.
Sweet Baby. Sweet Baby.
Sweet Baby.
Sweet Baby. Sweet Baby.
By now, there's no doubt you've heard of these people. They're a consultation studio aimed at aiding game studios in writing better stories. I know that's a broad definition, but it's essentially the one they present. They want to make stories better. One of the ways they do this is to ensure that the stories they work on are diverse, and that the portrayals of different marginalized groups are done with respect. This studio has caught a lot of criticism lately for a multitude of reasons I don't feel like getting into, but what I want to make clear is that, even if you do believe that this company's objective is flawed or even detrimental, I think it's completely foolish to look at a game like Suicide Squad and see Sweet Baby Inc. as the de facto culprit for the game's issues. Let's assume the game's story was great, right? The gameplay is still nothing like what fans wanted, its level design is still nauseatingly repetitive, its endgame is still borderline non-existent, and the game's live service model is still half-assed. These are the reasons the game failed. Games like this don't happen because of one person, one issue, or one oversight. It's a perfect storm of bad decisions all the way from the people leading the game to the people just animating it. I think part of why people wanted to blame Sweet Baby is because they're a good scapegoat that lines up with a current culture war. Whether the company likes it or not, they've become a symbol for liberal politics, and the people that dislike that can point to them, and thus liberal politics as a whole, for being responsible for the world's problems, gaming most specifically. And look, I don't like admitting that the people who made bangers like Arkham Knight were capable of making something so disappointing, but let's not lose sight of what the issue is here, because if we truly run with the narrative that having a black Deadshot or having strong female characters are what makes this game bad, then we'll just be seeing bad games that star white people, and I hardly think that's the goal. It's much more productive to dissect what doesn't work with the game fundamentally and truthfully. If the gameplay sucks, we need to express that constructively. This leads me to something else I saw regarding Suicide Squad's reception, which is that a lot of the criticism wasn't constructive, and feels like it was made with malice. I'm gonna be speaking broadly because I don't want to start any drama, but so many of the creators I saw would lambast this game in such a disrespectful way. I get being bombastic for the sake of the camera, and hey, I indulge in a little gamer rage too, but I noticed a severe lack of constructive criticism from so many creators, and I wish I knew why. Is it because being so mean-spirited makes you seem unbiased? Is it because you felt so insulted by your purchase that that you felt justified in starting a witch hunt, I can't ever know. What I do know is that if we care about games and we want to offer feedback, especially if we are blessed enough to have a platform that amplifies our voice, we are obligated to speak to this company with respect, especially because they provided the 4 best games of my childhood. I'm not saying we need to sugarcoat it or coddle Rocksteady, but that we can express our disappointment and why we felt disappointed without devolving into playground insults or broad suggestions that the whole game sucks and the company is washed. This reception made me feel bad for Suicide Squad. I certainly didn't like the game anymore, but I was rooting for it to make a comeback. Deep beneath the live service bloat was a game with potential. I did not believe Suicide Squad to be a lost cause, and I wanted to see the game turn around because not only do I want to enjoy the game that I spent $130 on, but it would be an inspiring story. What we had on launch was doing anything but inspire, at least mostly. For as much as I detested the story, there were some good parts of Suicide Squad, Metropolis being one of them. The city feels like the home of superheroes. But what do I mean by that? Well, it means that the city feels super, idyllic, capable of anything. Airports are part of skyscrapers, bringing to mind a skyline of planes and superheroes whizzing by your apartment window. Even the lower districts are full of life, rooftop lounges, and it seems like before the invasion, crime wasn't a concern. Easter eggs are all over Metropolis, making it seem, in a meta sense, like a celebration of DC, the Arkham series, and Rocksteady as a whole. It was the culmination of the Justice League's efforts, their vision of the world, and it was hard to not rally behind that vision, even in other dimensions. Seeing the chaos on top of everything makes that now old Metropolis a place you want to see. I yearned for the city's success. Because of these indicators, how golden the city looks at almost all hours, it made me want to save it, purely motivated by the thought of what it once was. Sure, much of this was left to my imagination, but there were real motivators too. People to save, a Justice League to save, and to see our underdog heroes claim victory. Half the reason I was able to appreciate such a city was because the traversal imposed enough restrictions to force me back to the streets once in a while. The traversal is something we can talk about later because over the next year it would become one of the game's few saving graces, but the important part is that even when we have characters with jetpacks where we might be able to comfortably coast above the city, having moments where we return to the ground reminds us of why the sky is so desirable. Combat is chaos all the time, and having to keep track of enemies when they are behind, above, below, in front, and to your sides is near impossible, so being able to maintain elevation is key to ensuring success. Sticking to the sky allows us to engage with a fight and the arena at a greater scale. When on the ground, the arena is a street, maybe it's a rooftop or a patio. In the sky, the arena is the city. And so we see that city from a new perspective narratively, as both figuratively and literally, we operate above it, entering the same role as the people who would protect the city before. This is one of the many ways we are made to feel a little too similar to the good guys. And I think one of this game's challenges is maintaining the feeling of being villains. And while I don't think the game is successful all the time at conveying that, it doesn't fail all the time either. You'll have plenty of time to appreciate the city because a lot of the gameplay takes place within it, and reasonably so. I found myself never returning to the same areas too often even when grinding the endgame. I think the environmental variety carries some of the mid-game, as the gameplay devolves into repetitive busy work. The traversal, that feeling of being above the city, is aided by the verticality of everything. It might be chaotic, but when a core part of traversal, and thus a core part of everyday gameplay, is returning to solid ground, the endless balconies and protrusions from buildings make scaling them whilst doing other things natural. It's a shame then that so much of the endgame on launch saw us entering Earth 2, which is relatively uninteresting. It's simply a version of Metropolis as further along in the Brainiac invasion, where he is essentially one. Bit questionable that it's still a dump, but I'm sure terraforming a planet takes some time. The detail in these dimensions remains, but because only a few select landmarks make it, it can remove the strength of Earth 1, which is that there were so many locales to choose from. Even in the later seasons where there are genuinely interesting locations to visit, we do it so many times that they lose their luster quickly, especially because so much of the endgame revolves around grinding for better gear and leveling up a soon-to-be-released Battle Pass. I left the launch of Suicide Squad feeling a lot of things. Disappointed, underwhelmed, bad? Man, I could hardly put my thoughts together for the review, but deep underneath everything I felt was still hope. I had previously hoped that the game's release would put my fears to rest, and now I was holding out hope for the first season to magically fix every issue with the game, and turn it into the game I wanted. Was that game something feasible? Were my expectations too high? Probably, but there was still that feeling that there was a chance for things to be worked out. I needed it. I wasn't ready to accept what was in front of me, so I waited. Well, here we are 2 months later. This was it. The update that would either be the beginning pivot in a larger 180 or a grim confirmation that there was no fluke. This was Suicide Squad. Let's start with the Joker. Leading up to launch and during said launch, there were many rumors and roadmaps that indicated what the future of the game would be, and the most enticing would be the Joker. We started off poorly given that his introduction is a brief animated cutscene, but once we unlock him we see the Clown Prince. Except this Joker was different. He was strange. This wasn't our Joker. It makes sense that we would never get Arkham Joker because, spoiler for a decade-old game, he's dead, but it's important for this game as an Arkham inheritor to provide us a Joker that is at least half as good, and this Joker just wasn't it. This Joker was all lust, hardly any blood, and his performance felt all too derivative of other villains. Swapping fluidly from maniacal laughter to dark in-your-face intimidation is a performance we've seen far too many times, unfortunately, often from characters not like the Joker. I could never sit here and lecture you about what the Joker is supposed to be, when so many widely different interpretations of the character have been successful in their own right, but something about this interpretation to me felt off. So I'll explain this as subjectively as it gets. The strength of the Joker was that it wasn't a performance. It's contradictory to what we see, but the Joker is this embodiment of burning it all down. The makeup, the theatrics, it's all self-indulgent. It's not done for others. It's done for whoever is underneath the makeup. It's the same way that Batman is the true self, while Bruce Wayne is more of a performance. Slapping all that makeup on is a way to take the mask off. A good Joker is one that doesn't feel as though his actions are for others. It needs to be self-serving. This Joker feels like he does the things he does for a specific reaction from the rest of the team. He isn't crazy, he just wants to seem crazy. Like a 15-year-old that wants to seem dangerous, he presents this faux edginess like he's above the horror, when really, it's just a way to get over his own fear of it. In spite of that, I found myself capable of enjoying moments with this Joker, and it was absolutely aided by his gameplay. Small problem though, unlocking him. Joker is a free character, but nothing is truly free, especially if you value your time. Essentially, you could spend $10 to unlock the Joker early, or grind for a few hours to be able to unlock him alongside defeating another version of Brainiac. So let's get something straight. Our goal this season is to kill this Brainiac and of course unlock the Joker. What can you do once you rescue Joker? Nothing! There's no new content. So if we buy Joker, we make that grind to kill Brainiac better, because there's a fresh new character. Sure, there's gonna be a select few that enjoy grinding, and I'm not denying the existence of those people. Hell, for a time I was one of them. But let's not kid ourselves. The motivator is progressing the story, and I think it does the game no favors to say that a character will be free and then pull this, well, he's technically free BS at the end. In order to unlock the mission that lets you rescue Joker, you need to level up your episode rank. This is done by completing open world activities that yield low episode experience, but a currency that allows you to do missions in other dimensions, which reward more episode experience. So the grind is essentially doing a bunch of open world missions, and then doing some Elseworld missions until you hit the episode rank requirement to kill Brainiac. Since this was the first season, it took me about 4.5 hours to make it happen, though once I had a strategy figured out, I found that I was able to do it in half the time in future seasons. Despite how long it would take, and despite how unchanged the fundamentals of the game were, I went in with a positive mindset. This positivity was partially because I dragged a friend along with me. Can you give me your best Joker laugh?
How's that?
But that positivity soon faded. It was a combination of things, really. Not being able to unlock the Joker right away, seeing how disappointing the Battle Pass was, as it only offered a few lame skins, and seeing that Suicide Squad was sticking to its guns dashed my hopes immediately. Still, I was motivated to unlock the Joker, and I kept my spirits up so I could at least enjoy the ride. Said ride went well enough, but by the time I got to Brainiac, it became clear that there was a formula. Every time we fought Brainiac, he just kept changing into another member of the Justice League, a repeated boss fight, which is especially disappointing because there's no visual spectacle this time around. As the arena was purple, the attacks were purple, and our enemy was purple. Not only was this fight nearly the same as the one that poorly ended the base game, but the general grind consisted of doing missions that we already did in the base game. So, outside of the environmental changes, which admittedly were nice, there was no new content. Once we got the Joker, I'll admit, I was interested. His movement was good, his skill trees were interesting, and the general aesthetic seemed to be well done. It's a shame that now that I have him, there feels like there's nothing to do, at least for the casual player. For the more dedicated fans, there are new weapons to grind for, mastery levels to test your mettle, and plenty of builds to try. I wasn't particularly wanting to do that, but I kept trying in the next episodes because of that damned hope. Who knows, maybe this time it clicks. Here's an anecdote. I never liked Borderlands and couldn't even finish the first game. Then I bought Borderlands 2, it was kind of fun, and even went into true Vault Hunter mode. But it wasn't until I hit that third playthrough, truly reached the end game, that I finally understood it and became hopelessly addicted. I have 1,000 hours in that game for God's sakes, and maybe by the time Suicide Squad's gameplay, like any looter shooter, turned from being an objective to simply trying to break the game as hard as possible, it would all make sense. And hey, this was just the first episode, and each season consisted of 2 episodes, so there was still time for me to fall in love. I just hope it doesn't take a while. Well, once again, as a younger, more optimistic, hopeful man, I went in with high expectations. There was pretty much 2 months between episode 1 and 2, so what could be in store? Mostly the same stuff. Same missions, a few new voice lines, and a few new time trials that are all easy enough to be finished in one go. And another Brainiac boss fight that was just another reskin of a different fight. Man, this sucks. This was the day that made it clear that the thing to carry this game would be the gameplay, which I suppose I haven't talked about much yet. Maybe all those repetitive missions could be saved by the raw mechanics, and while it isn't saved, I'd be lying if I said the gameplay was bad. I know that sounds like a hot take, and given people's expectations, I guess it is. People went from this to this. Even if the new gunplay is amazing, I guess it is. People went from this to this. Even if the new gunplay is amazing, people would still be annoyed by the pure whiplash, making even those that wanted to like it reflexively skeptical. I would know because it happened to me. But if the absurd amount of time between updates allowed for anything, it was time to heal. Time to realize that this is what it is, and I'm better off trying to enjoy what it is than yearn for what it isn't. Gunplay is going to be discussed from the perspective of someone on controller, because when it comes to third person, that's my go-to method. And a big potential issue is aim assist. I mentioned in my Watch Dogs Legion video that an aim assist that is too strong could be detrimental, as when aim assist is wrong, it makes it so you're forced to shoot an unintended target, which is frustrating, inefficient, and feels like you don't have control. I'm putting a lot of emphasis on this, which might seem trivial, but this is one of those fundamental things that, if the game did wrong, would kill whatever potential the gameplay had. This extends to the rest of the fundamentals. Say what you will about the way you engage with combat, but I don't think anyone can deny that the movement, the aim assist, the shooting, the moment-to-moment little details are all absolutely nailed, and I couldn't ask for more. Melees are quick, snappy, and when aiming down sights immediately after a melee, you'll snap onto the enemy's head, making a melee to shooting combo one you'll be doing often. This is also because of counter shots and shield harvesting. Suicide Squad is an aggressive game. They want you in the mix as often as possible. To encourage that, counter shots allow you to interrupt enemy attacks with your own bullet, like a long-ranged parry, and shield harvesting can be done by meleeing enemies with a blue aura. This creates a combat loop that complements the movement. As mentioned, you can't stay in the air forever, but it is advantageous, so most combat encounters will see you in the air setting up combos and making enemies vulnerable. Then, when you're forced to land, you drop onto a blue enemy, grabbing health, and then immediately jumping back into the sky. Eventually, this loop becomes second nature, a rhythm, and that rhythm eventually becomes a dance, and most times, the enemies are good dance partners. There are basic Brainiac goons, brutes, and then a slew of enemies inspired by the Justice League. Green Lantern constructs will appear, which might prevent certain enemies from taking damage. Batman-inspired foes will always keep their distance and can't be easily meleeed. Flash enemies just move quickly, and while this does sound like a lot, these enemies are introduced at a steady rate through the story, so I feel like by the time I reach the endgame, there weren't situations I wasn't prepared for. My only complaint with the enemies is the brutes, who when transitioning into a second or third phase, can be nearly invulnerable to damage, which slows down the pacing in combat quite a bit. Quantity is the name of the game, so dense health bars feel out of place among the other enemies that all go down in just a few bullets. Visually, I think the designs are fine, but they end up being boring as most arenas are just crowds of purple. It's a tough balance to strike because, against the commonplace Metropolis background, these enemies stand out, which is important, but the purple scheme, to me, is a tad boring, or maybe I want to paint the town red instead of purple, who knows. Regardless, most characters fall into archetypes, and the Joker offers a good look into what I mean. Most characters have an extensive skill tree with different paths. Keeping track of different buffs and skills can be tough, and thankfully you can change your skills whenever you want, so trying different builds is as accessible as possible, which I appreciated so much. Games like Borderlands or even Dark Souls put respeccing behind items or money, meaning a player either ends up following a guide or ending a playthrough with some regret. For the Joker, I spec'd him out to quickly build his special ability, which covers a wide area below him in bombs, which kept me in the air. Then I equipped a shield that was fragile, but when broken would offer a massive buff, turning me into the definitive glass cannon. Once that build was complete, I'll admit, it was just nice watching how high the damage numbers got, and it replicated a lot of the fun I had in Borderlands. Of course, most people playing this aren't looter shooter fans, which reviews subtly noted. A lot of the reviews for this game stated that there would be an audience for this game, and it's true, but the issue is that keeping a long-term fan base for a looter shooter is so difficult, because you have to rely on players being addicted to a grind, even when they don't know what they're grinding for. Borderlands nailed it on the second game, one many consider to be the best, but other entries never garnered the same hardcore addicts. As someone who's a fan of looter shooters, the thing that really fell flat for me was the loot. The shooter part? Good enough, but the loot for me never went past interest in what did more damage. Often the different Infamy sets were too complex for me to bother, and I know that sounds like such a bad excuse, but look, I'm already juggling so much that keeping track of everything eventually becomes a chore, and often the return wasn't worth the increased mental load. In spite of this, I tried to get addicted to the game, and honestly, there were moments where it worked. I never outright desired the game, but when obligatorily grinding the game, I'd have a YouTube video on the second monitor, and it felt pretty good. By the time I ended Season 1, I was disappointed, but still coping. I figured a lot of this was likely already developed before the launch of the game, so maybe it's gonna get better in Season 2, and lucky for me, Season 2, which would feature Mrs. Freeze, would be right around the corner. All I had to do was wait maybe a few weeks, and the game's redemption arc would finally begin! It got delayed. Disappointing, but in the meantime, I found a tantalizing theory about the game. Did you ever notice that once the Flash is captured, he regrows a finger that was previously cut off? Maybe you wondered why the Green Lantern's ring broke basically every rule, and even after the Lantern's death, his constructs remained. Weird. Isn't it also weird that both Kryptonite and Gold Kryptonite didn't affect Superman as intended? Isn't it also weird that Brainiac says this?
How did you defeat my Justice League?
Well, the theory goes that Brainiac actually cloned the Justice League, and the League that we killed were the clones, meaning we could still save the original Justice League. While a lot of this theory made sense, and truth be told, I did believe it, I remained skeptical and even cynical towards all of it, and generally wrote it off because thus far, we hadn't seen any evidence of it in the latest content updates. Maybe the next update will have some more answers. Alright baby, another day, another update. This is gonna be it. Man, that patch file is big. In the meantime, why don't I see what the internet thinks of this new character?
Retconning Mr. Freeze into Miss Freeze, creating an abomination in character design.
Butch looking chick is a thing. It's real.
Miss Freeze. And I don't think anybody wanted that.
Miss Freeze. Oh my goodness, dude.
Well, I guess I have to address it. Many people assumed Mr. Freeze would be the next character, but it appears they were sort of wrong, because instead it was Mrs. Freeze. Unfortunately, I don't really care. I'm not trying to dismiss people's feelings, but the character of Mr. Freeze and my interest in that character never hinged on their gender. It's still the same character, the same motivations, just now they look a little different. If anything, I think the biggest issue with Freeze is that they have a lot of untapped potential. For one, where are the Freeze weapons? Yeah, we have weapons that kind of look like it, but let us have a full-on snow blaster, a cryo laser. Let's fully utilize the first character outside of Deadshot whose primary means of defense is some kind of gun. Also, I think it would have been more interesting to, instead of having a female Freeze who is saving their own Nora, we had an Elseworld version of Freeze where it's Victor that gets ill and frozen, and Nora is the one who goes off the deep end trying to save him. Then we have an interesting inversion of the story, and an excuse to make Nora a unique character without feeling like it's changing the baseline Mr. Freeze character. But enough talking about what this season isn't, and instead, let's focus on what it is, which is, content-wise, the exact same as Season 1. I'd been making excuses for the game around every corner by this point, and Season 2 was where I really started to run out of excuses. At least the Elseworld was more interesting, this time being a frozen wasteland instead of Joker's mild carnival, and I still kept a positive attitude because honestly, it all became kind of funny to me. I waited so long, held out so much hope, and this is what I got. Was it naive to put my faith into this game? Absolutely. But I wasn't just putting my faith into the game, I was putting my faith into Rocksteady. It was my own Joker moment. The whole game became funny because I adamantly told myself, let them cook, and this is what they came out with. If there's one thing I can at least give credit to, it's that Mrs. Freeze's movement is impeccable. I waited this long to talk about movement because by this point in the game's lifespan, it was the only positive I could give the game. Conversations with others about the game were often filled with what did they do, why did they do, but I also kept a rebuttaling, well, the traversal's pretty good in my back pocket to shield the game from comments claiming it did nothing right, and to shield myself from feeling like those 130 Canadian buckaroos were wasted. All the characters had a fun and expressive means of getting around that not only looked cool, but felt cool, and aided the moment-to-moment gameplay. Most of them function on an energy meter, with said meter being slowed down by certain actions, resetting it entirely by touching the ground. This creates the loop I mentioned, where you're always returning to the ground, but even the base movement, the moment-to-moment jumps and walks are done well too. Characters all move at a comfortable speed. They strike a balance between expressive animation, but still feeling sticky enough for inputs to feel exact. There's a slide you can perform upon landing, and your jump will carry that momentum. Some characters can utilize their movement to sprint, some can power up their jumps, others can stand out by concept alone. Captain Boomerang mechanically has one of the weaker movesets, just clicking where you want to go, like teleportation with a few mid-air jumps to boot, but the visuals were always so crisp that I enjoyed playing as him because he's not teleporting, and you can even see him running along to where you threw the boomerang. I'm sure super speed might be in concept better, but given the movement restrictions and given how much more indicative this is of Boomerang's personality, I'm more than happy with this. However, this idea of characters getting one method of traversal over another is a running theme, and this started with Boomerang, but it got picked up again with the release of another character. Harley swings on a drone, offering one of the most liberating traversal options, especially as her energy is recharged by diving, meaning scaling up and down with her is efficient and fun. I stuck with Harley through most of the game because of this traversal, and yes, I do realize that the traversal is a lot of what separates the squad from the casual viewer. King Shark and Deadshot do have the worst traversal, but I use the word worst with some salt, because even Shark, who I consider the weakest, is still fun to use, and that speaks volumes about how good the traversal is, which is shocking because while the Arkham games always had fun traversal, there's only so much you can do with a cape. So to see not just 4 base characters, but then 4 added characters all having unique and fun traversal abilities is genuinely impressive. And yeah, sure, characters like Mrs. Freeze kind of come packaged with a million traversal ideas that all come back to Frozone, but the Joker? I wouldn't even know where to start. What Rocksteady landed on was using his umbrella as both a rocket to shoot himself into the air, a slow gliding ability, and a faster gliding ability all in one. And it works like a dream. It's easier to just point at the screen than tell you, and I think the visuals communicate what I mean. Characters' traversal are always so unique, expressive, responsive, and it's easily the part of the game that Rocksteady has consistently knocked out of the park. Was it enough to keep me coming back to the game regularly? No, but maybe the next major update, Episode 4, would offer something worth replaying. Yeah. Time flew by, and yet still, with the arrival of Episode 4, I had a question in my head. What's the goal? We don't really get new content outside of different set dressings, the gameplay itself can struggle to stay fresh, and creating unique builds and characters takes too long and feels too haphazard to be a desirable journey. Maybe we can start by unpacking why making unique builds was tough for me to get into. The first issue is that the loot I received was often not unique. I'd received the same few guns over and over, and that loot wasn't very different from the stuff I had damage number and moment-to-moment gameplay wise, and the skill trees were a lot to keep track of. I can't explain the loot section much clearer, but I think the main issue with the skill trees is that it all happens very fast. With each level up, you'll have multiple skill trees to consider, and each time I intended to buy a skill, I had to cross-reference it with other trees to see what it synergized with. It made creating a build a chore, and each tree didn't feel as though it represented a certain playstyle, as let's say skills that provide buffs for being in the air were present in all trees. Also, I'm gonna say it, I'm gonna make myself look bad, but when I hover over a skill and there's a wall of text in front of me, I think, ah, man, I'm not reading all that, and I just move on. And I don't think I'm the only one that gets subtly overwhelmed like this either. Because I wasn't fulfilled by the gameplay, and because creating an endgame build felt like a pain, I ended up not enjoying the journey of the endgame. Because when it comes to looter shooters, it's never about the destination. When I think back to one of my favorite games, Borderlands 2, I'm reminded of one summer where I got nearly every character to level 72, which was the cap at the time. And just before the last one, I realized something. I had no goal. Sure, by the end, I had all the characters maxed out, but for what? I didn't have an answer, but it made me realize that the fun of the game and its different characters came from seeing how those different classes evolved throughout their journey to that max level. Each character had different strengths and weaknesses I needed to play around, and because that core gameplay was so fun, I kept setting arbitrary goals because I think I just wanted an excuse to play more. Needless to say, I started running out of excuses. By this point, the updates that once sparked hope became a bi-monthly ritual. At first, I met them with laughter, maybe to hide the pain, but the next season would be too painful to hide. Fortunately, there was a twist this time around. As I was playing through my objectives, I assumed I would take down Brainiac like usual and then wait another 3 months, but this time, my objective was to rescue the Flash? Is this really how they introduce the concept? Just an objective? Even when we rescue him, he just falls over, doesn't interact with the team, seems to have no idea what's going on, and that's it. Seriously, that's all. You can see him floating in a stasis tank, I assume for some big finale where everybody comes back and takes down Brainiac. But man, the way this was delivered and executed somehow turned what should be the most hyped twist in a game into something I didn't care about. I assume it would have been better if the game's post-launch budget wasn't reduced to a paperclip and string, but still, come on, man. I'm not sure if it's the underwhelming delivery or the fact it took forever, but I just didn't care. This was the day it happened. This was the day my hope died. I booted up the game with a friend, took a look at the map, saw nothing had changed, and that feeling settled in. My hope had turned to hopelessness. I was at least excited for Lawless, the daughter of Deadshot, who, in another dimension, took some Brainiac tech and used it to fight against the invasion. In order to get her, like Freeze and Joker before her, I'd need to grind, and I just couldn't do it. I played for an hour, realized that somehow in the last 200 days the gameplay loop hadn't changed, and I gave up. Then, oddly enough, I became quite sad. I was upset at what the game was. I was upset that each update truly was the same. And I was upset that my previous motivation, seeing how much worse it could get, was gone, because it couldn't get worse. This was about as bare minimum as it could get. This was the darkest timeline. I ended up taking a few days off from the game and just sulked. Maybe it's dramatic, but I really felt like the base game was a knife to the stomach, and each season was another rotation, twisting it further in. But you know what the salt was? The store. Look, when it comes to live service games, I get it. You gotta make money somehow. But the thing that annoyed me most about the store was the battle pass. And not because I don't like battle passes, I've actually argued in favor of them when they're done right in games like Fortnite. But here, my biggest gripe was the massive disparity between the battle pass skins and the paid skins. This is not exclusive to Suicide Squad. There will always be a canyon between the paid skins and battle pass skins, but Suicide Squad's canyon is so wide that despite having a free battle pass token, meaning I could get the battle pass without paying anything extra, I never used it because there was not a single skin that I wanted. I kept waiting for a battle pass worth grinding, and I just couldn't find it. At this point, I started questioning if I just wasn't the audience for this game. I thought I was. I like looter shooters, I like Arkham, I like Rocksteady, but if I'm this hard pressed to enjoy the game, then who knows? Maybe I'm just not the intended audience. I desperately wanted to enjoy the game. Desperately, but I just wasn't sure anymore. I decided I should probably take another break. If there's one thing I can praise Suicide Squad for, it's that they rarely have any kind of limited time content. Miss an episode? You can always set your game state to it. Miss your battle pass? You can always come back. This was convenient for me because I missed most of episode 5 while dealing with my own Suicide Squad induced depressive episode, but was still able to come back and catch up. During that time, I grinded some levels and unlocked Lawless. The moments leading to when you actually rescue her were good, as her video calls always imply a sense of progress or story, which had otherwise been very thin. We follow her and her attempt to rescue Green Lantern, and it's given the same significance as rescuing the Flash, which is a half-assed we're doing this now, I guess. Fortunately, once Lawless and Lantern are rescued, can't believe I'm saying this, started having fun. The biggest reason is Lawless. I know the archetype of a bratty teenage influencer is one we've seen before, and in fact, I can't think of a single influencer character that isn't super obnoxious, which might say more about influencers and writers, but I digress because I liked Lawless a lot, and rarely cringed at her dialogue. Now granted, I don't mind the base game's dialogue either, but it was the gameplay that really sold me on Lawless. Lawless has cool movement, full stop. You don't need a more in-depth explanation. It reminds me of my beloved Gravity Rush. It's intuitive to control and looks slick too. I don't need any more. This traversal also meshed well with her gameplay, acting as a remix of Deadshot's kit. I can't fully explain it, but something about this character just made everything click for me. I was enjoying the movement so much, and because I immediately had an episode to grind, I had extra goals once unlocking her. I realized that half the reason I became bored upon unlocking new heroes is that they were the pinnacle of a season, and once they were unlocked, I had nothing else to work towards. So just like that, I was having fun. I still wasn't loving the experience, and I don't think I perfectly clicked with the game, but the pieces were close. I ended up doing side content for fun, like different movement challenges of which I wish there were more, and I even grabbed a Riddler trophy or two. As far as legitimate side missions go, there's nothing that isn't part of the endgame loop, and it is disappointing to think that a year of gameplay was meant to hinge on the same 5 mission types from the campaign, but regardless, I actually enjoyed the grind a bit. And it's a shame that the game was soon to end. Suicide Squad shocked me for living on this long. Warner Brothers had publicly stated how much of a multi-million-dollar failure this was, and I had assumed that, much like Concord, it would be shut down quickly, and Rocksteady's efforts would be put towards trying to pretend the game never happened. Rocksteady put out a statement today that their next update, featuring Deathstroke, would be their last. You know, I'm torn. On one hand, I agree with the people who say Rocksteady should have just taken the L, forgotten about the game, and pulled a Concord because, yeah, nearly a year out at this point, it sucked. As a fan, I wanted to just get another proper Batman Arkham game, and you know what? I did get that with Arkham Shadow, and the old games are still there, but what I wanted most was to just see Rocksteady in good graces again. They went from being able to do no wrong to being a company that seemingly couldn't do anything right. On the other hand, I highly respected that the game stuck to its guns. Sure, it wasn't all hands on deck post-launch, and it never would be, but considering that it was a reportedly bare-bones crew working on the game, then I can't help but commend the fact that they delivered all that they promised. Even if at every turn, every tweet, every trailer, and every blog post, they were told that their game was dead, that it sucked, and that it wasn't worth it. It leaves me feeling like this wasn't entirely a cash grab. It was also an artistic vision that, to some extent, was being fulfilled. It's important to remember that underneath all the repetition, the shitty live service stuff was a vision, and I struggle to see this game as a means of just making cash. If money truly was the sole motivation, then they would have made an online Arkham game where we play as different members of the Bat family. As always, the answer for where things went wrong starts at the top. Reports came out that detailed the internal workplace culture during the development of the game, with the word toxic positivity being used a lot. Essentially, the Rocksteady team were borderline forced by Warner Brothers to make the game live service, knowing full well that the team was experienced only in single-player games. During that development process, said toxic positivity would pop up, often in the form of pretending everything was fine, despite all the challenges in front of the team. During an early showcase of the game, a lot of criticisms were levied against the game that were so fundamental that there was no way to fix it in time for launch, but alas, it would be fine and nothing bad would happen. The director hadn't played any live service games and was generally unfamiliar with the genre. That's probably fine. Even with the game ending, the online functionality would still work, co-op would still be available, the store too, and a new offline mode would allow players to play without an internet connection, which should have been there by launch, but at this point it's the least of the game's worries. By now, playing each update was an obligation to that tiny piece of hope in me, so I patiently awaited Season 4. Now, hold on a second, that's not bad. The grind to get Deathstroke was the same rigmarole, but the character himself playing as Deathstroke, dare I say it, was pretty fun. It was clear from the opening cutscene that the game had to skip a few steps in order to wrap things up in time. We learned that Deathstroke has been in contact with R-Earth's Waller and has actually been playing his own single-player adventure where he has taken down 4 Brainiacs already, and our goal is to meet up with him. I think this decision works twofold because it steps up Deathstroke as the uber badass assassin we think he is, while also shuffling us along fast enough for the final episode to hopefully wrap things up. This was another decision I felt skeptical of because, yeah, it's clear the story needed to be wrapped up, but it also felt odd knowing that this fast tracking was in lieu of a potentially good content update. Now, that does assume the content would be good, but yeah, this is probably for the best. What separates Deathstroke most from the others is reputation. Shark, Boomerang, Joker, Harley, and Lawless are characters that lend themselves to humor. Deadshot and Freeze aren't as humorous, but fit into the vibe by just letting themselves get caught up in the fun. Deathstroke doesn't stand for it. He's here for business and nothing else. His quips are mostly egotistical gloating, his movement, his cutscenes, his dialogue, it's all serious, and tone-wise, it was a refreshing sight. Where Deathstroke also succeeds is in being a character that would, in my mind at least, actually use guns, movement, and melee like this. When I imagine the cast of Suicide Squad and how I imagine they would fight, guns only came to mind for Deadshot, maybe Joker, and Freeze if you count lasers and rays. But why does it matter if the characters use guns? For me, it's the means of combat being an expression. A Joker that fights with shotguns, that's not screaming character. One that traverses with an explosive umbrella, that screams character. Often the thing that feels most disconnected from the character's aesthetics is the weapons. So when a character like Deathstroke comes along and, at his core, feels as though a gun would be the way he expresses himself in combat, I'm far more engaged. This applies to his traversal too, though that is par for the course by now. Where I was most shocked with his traversal was in the response. I saw this tweet, and I think it's such an interesting viewpoint that I want to unpack. I feel like Suicide Squad by this point could not win no matter what. Like, yeah, a fast-moving traversal option should be reserved for the Reverse Flash, but I also assume Reverse Flash would not be received well with this movement because it's too slow and incremental, and people wouldn't want him to use guns. I think Deathstroke is by far the best character the game has added. The movement is fantastic, sticky, fluid, the combat is as good as it can be for this game, and the skills were awesome. If this isn't enough to at least get people to think twice about this game, it was never going to happen. At this point, the game was the closest it was ever going to be to that click moment, so I figured it would be a wise idea to ask some players for help. Because despite all the hate the internet and myself gave to this game at the time, there was a small group that was defending this game day in and day out. Granted, some of them claim that YouTubers were paid off or in some way forced to call the game bad and pretend that the game's reception was some kind of psyop, so I had to do a little bit of filtering, but we got there. Freezu is a content creator that, while not staunchly defending the game, has been playing and enjoying it, and I wanted to know what kept him coming back. Essentially, while the post-launch support could have been better, the game itself was fun to them, and they enjoyed the community that formed around the game. Creating endgame builds was satisfying, and while the post-launch content wasn't plentiful, it was solid enough given how few people were working on the game. So what did this show me? Well, it showed me that I wasn't necessarily missing something. I tried my best to like the game, but sometimes you just can't win. If hope couldn't motivate me, then at least raw intrigue could. After all, the game was going to end next episode, and we still have 2 more members of the Justice League to rescue. I'm curious to see how it all ends, and the whole game has been such an anomaly that I can't help but wonder how it's all going to play out. Maybe that's what supplemented my hope thus far. For as much as the word slop was used when describing the game, that misrepresents the fact that, even if for the wrong reasons, Suicide Squad is exceptionally special, and seeing where it goes from here is like having your eyes glued to a train wreck. It's not pretty, but it's not often you get to see one in person, so you're stuck waiting to satiate that damned curiosity within you. There was something somber about booting up Suicide Squad today. For as much as every update left me with disappointment and crushed hope, it also left me with something funny, something to tell my friends about, and for some reason, I was kinda sad to see it go. The final update was just dropped. No announcement, no hype, just here it is. Immediately, there was a cutscene that explained how the squad had brought down all but 2 Brainiacs and that this was our final push, once and for all. Of course, that final push was the same stuff we've been doing for a year now, so there isn't much to say about the gameplay, but it at least only took an hour for me to unlock the final boss fight. Once going toe-to-toe with Brainiac, he turns into the Flash, then Green Lantern, and then Superman. The twist this time is that Green Lantern and Flash are here to help. It really isn't that much of an improvement. It just feels hollow by now, because there's been so little mention of them up until this point. I know this is primarily a budget concern, but the feeling is there regardless. Once you deal the final blow to Brainiac, we get a 2D animated cutscene of Superman and Batman coming back to defeat Brainiac, and Harley narrates what happens next, which is that the Justice League continues to help the different dimensions recuperate from Brainiac, and the squad find a way to take out their neck bombs, allowing them to successfully escape to other dimensions, seemingly finding camaraderie with each other, and continuing to thin the Brainiac forces. I don't know how to feel. Again, on one hand, they had to find some way to wrap it up quickly, and honestly, I don't think there was any ending that would be satisfying, but on the other, the whole ending, through its sheer lack of quality, was bittersweet. If everything up to this point was a sick joke, I was hoping this final cutscene would be a way to say, just kidding, but they weren't kidding. Once the mission is completed, you're transferred back before the point of no return, and are free to keep grinding mastery levels or walk around Metropolis. I had no intention of doing either. I think Harley's ending sentiment was kind of nice, especially considering that the budget must have been in the negative at that point, and I do appreciate that in some way the story was wrapped up. Here we are, 1 year later. Looking back at everything, I still have a rather hot take. I'm kinda happy this game exists. I don't think it's good, and I don't think it isn't a waste of time and money, but Suicide Squad is exceptional for all the wrong reasons. Think about the most controversial games over the past year or two. Even if you were disappointed by Dragon Age Veilguard or Spider-Man 2 or even Gotham Knights, I think many would struggle to call those games outright bad, and even if they did, Suicide Squad is in a league of its own. It is extremely rare that we get to see such a massive flop in all areas, critically, financially, spiritually. I don't want to pretend like I wouldn't have preferred a better game, but what we have is a lesson, an example, and ultimately, an experience unlike anything I've seen. Even if that experience was negative, I can't help but feel grateful that I got to see it anyways, because I'm not sure if we'll see another game like it. Sure, instant comparisons will be made to games like Concord, but the difference is that there was virtually no hype for that game, and it was literally deleted after less than a month. This was a game that had so much hype, and yet despite the launch, kept going. We've also never had a game that had fans so interested in seeing where it went. Yeah, it's not like they were playing the game, but hundreds of thousands tuned into YouTube videos with each update to see what the game was doing next. That's hard to do, and I can't help but be grateful that I was a part of that experience. Suicide Squad was a lesson for everyone involved. Consumers, investors, developers, and while it wasn't all bad, I will stand by the traversal being dope until the day I die, it's undeniable that the day one product wasn't great. Post-launch support was our last hope for the game to turn around, but it failed to deliver. It begs the question why it wasn't just canned. Not deleted from stores, but why bother fulfilling the roadmap if the budget was so low? There might have been some contractual obligations behind the scenes that influenced this decision, but I feel as though it made the painful execution drag out for a whole year. You couldn't go more than 2 months without a reminder that the game exists and that the game is still getting updates and it's not getting any better. I'm impressed that the added characters all played well, especially characters like the Joker and Lawless, but otherwise, each content update which resulted in little more than a change in set dressing was a depressing cycle. At the end of the day, people will forget about Suicide Squad. We'll all get over it, whether by finding something else to be excited about or by finding something shittier to make fun of. I won't sugarcoat it. I think this game sucks, but I want to reiterate that if you are someone that enjoys this game for whatever reason, then you should be happy about that, and don't let my words discourage you. In fact, you can wear the fact that you enjoy the game like a badge of honor, because after all, you won. You bought a product and enjoyed it, and as a consumer, there's not much more you can ask for. I struggled for a while to find the silver lining in all of this, something to make the experience worthwhile, and I think I landed on 2 things. The first is that there's something unique about being reminded that a titan like Rocksteady is fallible, that they can mess up. Nobody wants to see God bleed, but you're not going to look away. The other silver lining is that at least I can appreciate the good games more. I mentioned earlier that just before Suicide Squad, we had people calling Spider-Man 2 bad. Sure, that game has problems all over, but these 2 games, despite having similar budgets, are not even close to being in the same league. Seeing how easily a game could fail really makes you appreciate the ones that turn out so well. So thanks, Suicide Squad, for reminding me how great games are and just how bad they can be.
Zach, bravo, very good. Brennan.
I don't think I'm gonna do it. Can you tell people you're right? I want to start it. Tell them. Right, let's. What about this wave? Oh. No one's doing it with old Bob Dylan.
Hey, you Bob Dylan?
Wait a minute. You Bob Dylan. Hey, you as well. Is that Bob Dylan movie where they had 10 Bob Dylans?
It's 10 Bob Dylans. Hey, guys,
check it out.
No.
That's really solid, guys.
Feels like a points all around, though.
For sure, points all around, and then another one for Zach.
Oh.
Which brings us to round 1. Josh, Sam. The fans demanded it, and we are but their hostages. A sequel prompt. Godzilla versus King Kong versus Josh Rubin.
You know, just hanging out in Los Angeles, me, Josh Rubin. Oh, that's crazy. Oh, just gonna head into this audition and fill out my name. Does anybody hear that? Huh. Oh, the building's on. Hey, oh my God, that's Godzilla! Is that what you sound like? I just wanted auditions! I just wanted to audition! He just grabs Godzilla.
Can we see King Kong? You ready for the audition? Okay, so this is a Mentos commercial whenever you're ready.
Nothing gets to you. Staying fresh, staying cool. Mental fresh and full of life. Fresh. Put him in the maybe pile.
King Kong, SAG-AFTRA.
I liked what he was doing, but he bit my arm off.
15% of the box office and merchandising points for you, Josh. Zach.
Okay.
A spelling bee contestant will be assassinated the moment they miss a letter.
Onomatopoeia.
Oh, shit.
Can you use it in a sentence?
Bang, pow, kazam. These were the sorts of onomatopoeia that could be found in the comic book's pages.
Can you define it?
Onomatopoeia of a class of words describing the physical sounds.
Onomatopoeia. O. N. O. M. O.
F-O-U-R. 4 points for you, Zach, which brings
He spelled
us
5 wrong.
to Brennan. A political ad to persuade one specific voter.
Here in High Falls, we pride ourselves on the kind of living that most Americans dream of. Public parks, beautiful natural wildlife and reserves. Doug, why won't you vote for me? Over 99% of the town agrees that I've been a good mayor. I won with 99.998% of the vote. It's fucking crazy that you didn't vote for me, Doug. I paid off everyone's mortgages, okay? I brought an extinct species of deer back as a mayor.
Honey, can you come in here, please?
You're a fucking idiot, man. Everyone loves me except you. I don't understand.
I think the TV's talking to me.
Doug, your wife voted for me. Your dad voted for me.
You voted for him, too?
Everyone but you, Doug.
Well, I guess there's only one thing to do. I suppose I'll head into town.
Doug, I can't hear you. I'm in a commercial.
I'm Sam Reich, and I approve these 15 points for Brian. Oh, Josh. Yeah. Congratulations. It looks like you've been given a gift prompt.
I have?
Hi, Josh.
Oh, no, you none of it.
Ben here, and I have a gift prompt for you. Robin Williams is doing a coffee commercial where at the very end of each take, he takes a big sip of coffee and it makes him more and more caffeinated as the takes go on. What are you gonna do with that one?
Oh, baby. Right. Josh, once again, Robin Williams is doing a coffee commercial where at the end of each take, he takes a big sip of coffee and it makes him more and more caffeinated as the takes go on.
Wow. Okay, ready. I'm ready now.
We're starting
Here we go. Are we rolling? Okay. I love Shake's caffeination. And here it comes. One little sip makes me go dip-de-dip. Okay, wow, that was pretty good. Another? Okay. Ha. Okay. Hey, Shaky Shake's coffee. It makes me go zippy-dip swaffy. Oh! I made Shauna Matata! Was I even in the Lion King? I don't know. Nathan was. When we were the birdcage, it kind of was like one of those things you sort of, I pierced the toast. Okay, one more time. Action, self-action, self-action. I'll do a self-action. Go, wow. Are you hairy? I am. Good. All right, last one. Okay, self-action. Okay, cool. You like sippy sip shakes? I do. Ooh, like sippy sip shake, shake, shake. Sippy sip shake, shake, shake. Oh, wow. Oh, my. One more by your time. Sippy sip shake, shake, sippy sip shake, sip, sip, sip. Here I come, Jay. Aim for the close-up.
We weren't rolling on that one.
Oh, self-wrap.
Unfucking believable.
Self-wrap.
34 points, Chief. 34 points. Zach. A flair bartender makes you, oh, just a club soda.
What's up, Rockstar? I'm doing good. This Thursday night almost feels like a Friday. Are we partying? What we doing? Star. I'm doing good. This Thursday night almost feels like a Friday. Are we partying? What we doing? I get some shots, sir. Oh, yeah. Come right up.
That's exactly it, Zach. Overqualified for the job.
That's all I got? That's it, huh?
Point per carbonated bubble for you, Zach. Brennan, last prompt of round 1. A small town sheriff chalks up clear signs of an alien invasion to silly teens.
Well, I'll be damned. Looks like some sort of high-on beam laser carved a 30-mile canyon right outside of Route 28, smoking with some kind of sickly green vapor. We better call off the Rafferty boys. Dale, one of them Rafferty boys just skittered past in the trees. Looked like he had nictating membranes. Dale, how many times I gotta tell you what a nictating membrane is? It's when a fish or an amphibian got clear eyelids that blink sideways, Dale. One of them Rafferty boys just sucked one of my thyroid glands out of my neck. I want to live in that world.
He's literally like up in the spaceship getting inducted going.
I don't know how you Rafferty boys stole a car this big.
Ain't no 20 points. Ain't never been no 20 points around these parts for you, Brent.
Oh, beautiful.
Which brings us to our second minigame. This is a minigame that we like to call Name That. In this case, mobsters. I'm gonna show you a mobster. You buzz in and pitch me the name for that mobster. My favorite wins. If I could please have our first mobster. Brennan.
Dino Ballerino.
Brennan, strong start. Zach.
King Gabagoo.
Oh, King Gabagoo.
I was
Let's
gonna
see what
go.
you did. I like it a lot. Josh.
Beanie the Bulge.
Beanie the Bulge. I am going to say that this one goes to Brennan. Thank you very much, mobster number 1.
God bless. We're gonna get to see so many Italians today.
If I could please have our next mobster. Brennan.
Ratatouille. Got him. Fucking wrap it up. One and done. Call it. Hey, Sam, call it.
Ratatonia.
Yeah.
It's Ratatouille.
Yeah, it is Ratatouille. I think we can all
The
agree.
only thing I can say is I would have a different character name if it was just the rat, because the rat looks like he's in Run DMC.
Rat DMC.
Oh, shit!
That's pretty good.
God damn it!
Almost want to give it to Zach, but instead that goes to Brennan. Thank you very much.
Unbelievable.
If I could please have mobster number 3. Josh.
Wiggly Boom Bots.
Wiggly Boom Bots is really good. Brennan.
Big Puffy.
Big Puffy is good. Zach.
Uncle Wacky. Wacky.
Yeah, there's something there for sure.
Uncle Wacky Inflatable Owl, that was pretty good.
Uncle Wacky Inflatable Owl.
Capone.
I think I am going to give that one to Zach after all that.
Wow.
Thank you, Inflatable Mobster.
I absolutely love this. I could name mobsters all day.
If I could please have mobster number 4.
Oh my God.
Brennan.
Lobster. He's a lobster. Lobster.
Josh.
Linguini Biscuito.
Poor Zach. Brennan.
Langosta Nostra.
Oh, come on now. Oh, Josh.
Johnny Pinch.
Oh, Johnny Pinchies. I am going to say that point goes to Brennan as well. Thank you, Lobster Mobster.
Lobster.
Yeah. Oh, yeah,
Oh,
it's tricky with those hands.
boy.
It's tricky. Yeah.
What'd you do today, honey? I helped a lobster mobster out of the stage.
If I could please have our next mobster.
Hey, guys.
What's up, Paul? Josh.
R.I. Paulie.
To be clear, this isn't me in there.
It's the mobster. Zach.
Dead Paul Robolino.
Oh no.
Yeah.
Ernie Potts.
Ernie Potts is, honestly, Brennan, it's the best we've done.
Folks, here at Make Some Noise, you can always count on me to do okay.